Hey, ladies and gents, welcome to the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. Our 150th episode, and finally back together again after E3.
Yippee-ki-yay!
I'm joined by Jordan, as you just heard, and and Dom.
Yippee-ki-yay!
Back together once again. 4th of July
Yeehaw!
got in our way. A couple other things got in our way. We were finally back together. I wanted all of us to be here for episode 150. It's not like we're doing anything grand or super exciting. I just think it's cool that we've made it this far. You know, it's a cool milestone. We haven't talked to each other. Well, Dom, we haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. Jordan and I talked about what we've been playing post E3. So I guess if you want to go first, since we haven't heard from you the longest.
Yeah, man, I got a list. So, first on the list, I mentioned a while back Elder Scrolls Blades, and I said really quickly it was shit.
Yes.
I've been playing a lot more of it, and I will upgrade that from shit to it's a better mobile game, I'll say.
Yeah.
What to get into first? There's timers, so you get your chests and your rewards, and you gotta wait an hour to open it or 6 hours, etc., etc. Which you can, of course, microtransaction your way into opening it sooner, which is it's what it is. Never bothers me because after about 15 minutes, you get bored of actually playing it. So 15 minutes at a time, now and again, it's on your phone. Is all you ever want to play it anyway. So there's no trouble in waiting to get the next chest open.
Do you even like mobile games, Dom?
No, I really hate them. Yeah.
You know that there's real video games that are on mobile phones that you can play.
Yeah, so it's tricky because there's something to it where, I mean, even say Final Fantasy games are on mobile, right? But
Sure.
games designed for mobile, even though they also include super predatory types of microtransactions like I'm talking about, they're also designed for quick play sessions. And
Right.
this one in particular, is designed to be used with one hand, and it's just whatever. You can do it, take it, while you're taking a dump or whatever, just putz around, go through one dungeon. It's super simple, but it's you're still getting the Elder Scrolls lore and the setting, and the graphics aren't as good as obviously a console game, but I don't know, it's a neat little game. I'm enjoying building up my... So basically the premise of the game is you start out and you're in a destroyed town, and you have to rebuild your town. You go on a quest, get materials, build new houses, all the other places you need to build, and slowly but surely you rebuild your town. So it's got a neat little loop, I guess. So it's okay. But I thought it was at least worth mentioning. It's above shit, at least. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I praise.
Yeah, it's also another one of those interesting things where I've obviously I've not paid any money for it, and part of me thinks, oh, that's probably good because I'm sending the message to them that I don't really like microtransactions, but part of me worries that I'm actually sending the message of they need to do a better job of getting me to buy, the little crystal diamond things or whatever.
Ah.
That's always my concern with this kind of thing, right? Where I might be better off ignoring the game entirely instead of playing it without buying the microtransactions, because I feel like that's only going to make them try harder to get me to buy something, by limiting the gameplay or something.
But often mobile games rely on whales. It's not like they rely on a huge pool of players all spending money. Most mobile games are lifted up by people who spend an exorbitant amount on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right. I understand your concern, but I doubt they're even paying attention to what you're specifically doing. You know what I mean? They're like, how can we get this whale to spend even more money? I think is how they look at it, but who knows? Mobile games are gross.
There's got to be, that's probably their biggest source of income. A little bit of it's got to be the people that aren't spending money, how can we get them to start?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a mobile game, so it's nothing new and exciting to report, I guess. But anyway, after that, I don't know if you want to do this, Jerrad, but I finished up Edith Finch.
So
that was a cool game.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you specifically about it because when Jordan and I were on, I talked to him because obviously he had already played it. So I told him about my thoughts in it, but I'd like to hear from you and see where we both sit on it because I finished it too, and in the time we haven't chatted.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it only takes a couple hours, and it was interesting. I mean, there were some interesting stories that I enjoyed. Honestly, I don't have that much to say about it, because like, yeah, it was an interesting game. I enjoyed experiencing those stories, and it's like a walking simulator, right? So you're just kind of walking around this house. It's really like well designed and cool, crazy house, right? But the stories themselves were wild and interesting. I thought they were pretty cool. There's a weird kind of fantasy thing going on. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Nothing that blew my mind, but
I'd like to ask you the same question that I asked Jerrad, Dominic. Were you left feeling kind of underwhelmed by the curse plot on the family? Because I thought that Jerrad was like, cool with it. He didn't have necessarily an issue with it. But I just felt like they could have gone a little bit further into whether the curse was real, what the curse was, what's actually happening, whether it's in their mind or not. So I was
I think my specific reply to you was, I wish they would have chose one way or another. Like, I wish they would have chose to, like, the curse was real and it was an actual thing that happened on their family before they moved over, or it's a thing of like a self-fulfilling prophecy type situation where there is no curse, but because you're hung up on it so much you kind of create the curse for yourself. They didn't do either of those things, so it was in the middle. So I was like, it didn't upset me. I'm just left like, to Dom's point, I think the individual journeys along the way were way more interesting than like the narrative resolution at the end. It was just like, so
yeah, I didn't really think too much about that. I just thought, it is or it isn't. I didn't really care about whether the curse was real. It was just kind of like, I'm trying to think of a similar story. It reminded me a bit of like Holes. I don't know if you guys read that book or watched that movie. Where like it's a similar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a slightly similar thing.
Digging
where, like,
up
his
them
family's
holes,
cursed, right?
Digging up them holes, yeah.
In that movie, you could debate that the curse was real. Well, they never like technically say it, but they kind of like push you to believe that. And this game is kind of just it's kind of 50-50. They let you decide whether you want to believe it was real or not. But I was fine with that.
That is a great pull there about, like, when you mentioned Holes, I was like, where's he going with this? And then like I'd forgotten about the whole curse plot in Holes. So
there's probably a better example of an analogy out there.
No, I think that's a great example.
I think it's solid too. Yeah. The other thing, Dom, that I told Jordan is that I thought the game, like, graphically was, like, beautiful. Like, I think the house was really nicely designed. The one thing that pulled me out and was very jarring for me was at the end when the camera pulls back and you see the boy go and put flowers on her grave. And I was like, that was one of the ugliest character models I've ever seen in video games. Like, it's, like, disgusting looking. Because I had gotten so used to the rest of the game looking so, like, polished and, like, it just looked stylish and nice, right? It looked like a house you'd find in Portland or something. And you pull back and see this ugly little kid. Ugh.
I've never understood indie developers that choose to put, like, human character models into their game when they're really not necessary.
Yeah.
Because it is so difficult to do a proper human model. So, like, Superhot's a perfect example. Like, those don't actually need to be guys coming at you. They can just be, like, amalgamations of humanoid-looking characters, and it still looks really great.
Yeah, and for a game that focuses so much on your first-person experience, it was weird at the end to be like, let's pull out and show you this gross little kid we designed.
This gross kid.
For the rest of the game being so beautiful. It was just really weird.
Yeah, I do remember thinking that was like, oh, it's a person. It just seemed a little odd. Yeah, I'm with you, but no, it was some cool stories. The initial story, right, the first one you get to it, it's like the youngest daughter, and I have no background on the game before going in. So when all of a sudden you're this character and it's like, oh, okay, so you're being starved by your parents. That's weird. Then all of a sudden, like, you climb out the window and it's like, and I was a bird or a cat or whatever. Like, oh, shit, okay. That's what kind of game this is. We're turning into a cat. And then it obviously only gets weirder from there. But that caught me way off guard. I was like, oh, we're a cat.
Since you're a trophy hunter from time to time, did you feel the need to go back and complete it?
Yeah, I got all the trophies because after a playthrough, you only had to go back and like do like it was like 3
The only-
extra things I missed, like clearing the pool balls off the table, a few things like that you could just do chapter select and grab real quick. So I did, yeah.
Yeah, so it only has like I think
Nice.
7 or 8 achievements on Xbox, and they're all worth like actually it has 10 because each one's worth 100 points, I think. Yeah, after one playthrough, the only ones I needed was to interact with all of the telescopes or
Right.
look holes, and then what was the other one I missed? Oh, to listen to the Drunk Sailor's entire song, which I actually really enjoyed.
That was
He sang that
another
entire sea shanty, which was really cool. So.
one. Yeah, I got all those
Sea
trophies. So that was a
shanty.
quick 100%. No platinum, but that's all right. So yeah, that was a cool game. I appreciated that. Free on PS Plus, so good deal there. Next, Detroit Become Human. This is a great game. It was a really good game. I finished it once. Obviously, there's like I don't even know how many, a lot of variations on how the story can play out. Just a lot of different endings and a lot of different variations in the middle too. But yeah, I think as far as like adventure games, this is like the pinnacle, the peak of just quality in every measure, right? But I wanted to preface that by saying in terms of adventure games, because obviously like
Sure.
it's quick time events. It's
Did
linear.
you play Heavy Rain or Beyond?
No, so first
Okay.
first Quantic Dream game. It's good. It's worth pointing out too. Yeah.
I was higher on Beyond than most people, so I want to get around to this game. I just haven't yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was really cool. Yeah, it's quick time events. Not linear, because obviously you choose what you do, but like you have to choose, right? There's not an open world or whatever. The levels are just you're doing this, right? So that's how it's structured. But the graphics are stupidly good, which is to be expected for this is a $60. It's cheaper now, but this is a full-fledged like AAA game, right?
PS4 exclusive.
Right.
For
So- and
some
all
reason,
that,
I
so-
was under the impression that you had played this at launch, Dom. I don't know why.
No, I had wanted to, but never got around to it. And it worked
24
out.
hours notice too to get it for free. It was like, oh, this is our free game. All right.
And I was bummed
So
out because it
weird.
went on sale for like $8, and then like a week later, oh, it's free on PS Plus. We swapped it out. Thanks, guys. But no, either way, I thought it was really cool. The story was really good. I can understand why some people thought the writing was a little bit like, I don't want to say cringy, but on the nose.
Trite.
There's a lot of obvious comparisons. The one that people always point out is like, yep, the androids have to sit on the back of the bus. We see what you're trying to say there. But I
David
didn't.
Cage, right, is the writer?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and he's
Um,
known for that kind of stuff. The same stuff happened in Heavy Rain and Beyond, where it's like, yeah, I see where this is like a little too overt or on the nose. Yeah.
And it's I didn't really ever find that as a distraction. It just wasn't. It wasn't like jarring in mind. Revolutionary storytelling and those aspects of it. But by far the best part of the story and the best characters were the android cop and the human cop that is kind of your good cop, bad cop. Like that relationship as it plays out through the game is really, really cool. And I'm not sure the other ways it could have went. I just know how it went for me. And from the start, I knew where I wanted it to go, and so I was driving that. That was by far the coolest part of the story. The other two characters were interesting, but not nearly as much so as Connor and Hank, as they're called. So I really
Played
enjoyed that game.
by Clancy Brown, I think.
Connor is the police officer or private detective, or whatever
Android.
he's right, and then Hank is the revolutionist.
No, Hank is Clancy Brown's detective character.
Yeah, so Hank is
Got
the
it.
human cop that Connor is partnered with. So, and right off the bat, I mean, if you watch even like a trailer for the game, you can see where all the character where they're supposed to go. So Connor is he's the android that's assigned to seek out the deviant androids, right, and figure out why they're going. It's nothing. It's not a crazy revolutionary news story, right? We've heard it 100 times before. I think what it does that's more interesting is it's called Detroit Become Human. So like I'm not spoiling anything by saying like in this game like the androids are human, right? They plant that like pretty early on that like they have a soul or whatever, however you want to describe it. That's like what it does.
Wow.
To me that's a little bit different. So that's kind of where that story is a bit unique, at least from stuff I'm familiar with. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. What else did I play? Oh, Of course, the piece de la résistance, if I said that right.
Okay.
I'm about 10 hours into Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hell yeah.
I get it. I definitely get it. This game is on another level of holy shit, this game. You know what I mean? Everything that everyone has said about it, I'm like, yeah. Good and bad. But mostly the good parts are like, holy crap, this game it's nuts, like what it does. There's a handful of things that like drive me absolutely crazy that I don't like, but they're pretty much overshadowed by how incredible the world is and the characters and everything from a technical perspective as well. It's like, it's super good, and I barely even scratched the surface on it. So I have a feeling I'm going to be deep into this shit for a few more months. But so far, that's my 10-hour impressions of like, wow, this is a game.
When we look back on it, 2018 might be one of my favorite years in video games, simply for Spider-Man, God of War, and that. Like, I loved all three of those games, obviously some more than others, but like, yeah, Red Dead's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
It is. I can just tell, like, it's special. Like, there's just so many things going on that I'm like, wow.
It's so good. It's so good in a lot of parts that it makes the controls or some of the other things that are a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
I think more frustrating than they normally would be, because you see how good other parts of Rockstar's development can be. So it's like, it's infuriating, because you're like, why didn't you just work on this too? You know, that's what sucks. But.
Shout out to, is it cinematic mode or cinema mode, where you can hit the touchpad and you'll be riding through some plains somewhere, but it'll have the camera way out, like it's a cutscene.
Oh, yeah, changing camera angles and stuff.
Control your character. I think that's so cool. I don't know why more games don't do that. I know it's probably not the easiest thing to do, but like, just having the straight up third person camera all the time, it's not nearly enough to appreciate the scope of a lot of games. And so I think that that's really cool when they're allowing you to see like how cool this game really is, you know, how cool this world really is, and these characters, how they look from different angles and all that. So I really appreciated that part.
The funniest thing too is, Jordan, we always have this conversation that I mostly prefer first person and you mostly prefer third person, right? Like, we'll play other perspectives, but that's our preference. I didn't play a single minute in Red Dead 2 in first person. I don't think I...
Oh, that's true. I forgot that you could do Red Dead in first person.
Yeah, and I don't like playing those games in first person for some reason.
It's nauseating.
But I appreciate the fact that they gave you the option.
Exactly,
you know? It probably wasn't easy, but they gave you the option.
Anything else, Dom?
Now, yeah, I tried the first-person mode, and I was like, okay, it's no good. Yeah, I don't... It's cool that it's there, but I'm like, I don't know.
Well, first-person car driving and first-person horse riding are two different things, you know?
I know you also watch Into the Spider-Verse. I don't want to spend too long on it, because I know Jerrad and I still have some stuff to talk about, but I'm really happy that you enjoyed it, because you're like the least superhero person out of us three, so it's really awesome to hear that you like fell in love with it.
Same thing. I have no idea what this movie was about going into it. I just knew it was animated, and just by the title, there's going to be, you know, different universes or dimensions or whatever. And that's
Dom,
it.
Before Spider-Man PS4, did you know about Miles Morales?
Not really. I think, like, I probably had heard you guys mention it, and you know, you could put two and two together really quick, like, oh, he's another Spider-Man in some way or another, but no, not really.
Spider-Gwen. What about Spider-Gwen?
Again, same thing. I think I had heard, like, Greta Miller mention Spider-Gwen costume or something, and that was...
Okay.
But holy crap, dude. Like, more than anything, the music, one, was stupidly cool. But then all the... I don't even know how you describe it, but, like, all the effects and the animation... Yeah, that song is sweet.
Soundtrack is so good.
Yeah.
She was a bad, nevertheless.
So, like, a few minutes in, I remember thinking, like, okay, this animation is going to make me sick. I really don't like this. And then another 10 minutes went by. I'm like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is just fucking awesome. Like, combined with the music, I was just, whoa. And then throughout, like, all the comic book, like, the onomatopoeia that pops onto the screen in the comic book panels or whatever and all that stuff. And, like, okay, the last thing I want to end on is the character model or design for Fisk. That is the dumbest thing. I should not have any. I should hate this just based on that, because that is so stupid and I don't get it, but I love it.
Oh, the over exaggeration, yeah.
How big his shoulders are. It's like, this is dumb, but I loved it.
He's a cartoon character, is what he is.
And on the same note, I should absolutely hate. This is like the farthest thing from things I like is a movie with Spider-Man Pig and a cartoon hammer.
Spider-Ham.
If you would have told me about this, I would have laughed you out of the room and said, "Get this shit off my fucking screen. I don't want anything to do with this. That's dumb. I'll never watch." No, it all works. It all works flawlessly. And
That's
Miles
comics,
Morales
man.
was a really cool character. All the voice acting was really good. I like that they chose. I don't know his name, but the actor they chose for like the non-canon, whatever you want to call him, Peter Parker.
Chris Evans, or no, not Chris Pine.
Jake Johnson.
I think Jake Johnson. He's the guy from like New Girl.
Oh, you're thinking Jake Johnson.
Yeah, Jake Johnson. Yeah.
It's a great choice
Chris
for that
Pine
character.
is the one that dies at the beginning. Spoilers. Sorry.
Because
but I mean, he's not the Spider-Man.
It gelled so well, and it contradicted. Now that I know it's Chris Pine, the voice for the first Spider-Man, the original one, who had like a lot more like bravado and nobleness, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, to his voice.
Tobey
right?
Maguire?
No, the original Spider-Man in this movie.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Was more like a traditional hero voice, right? And then you moved to Jake Johnson, and he's a much more vulnerable kind of. I don't want to shit on that guy, but his voice
the everyman Peter Parker, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought that worked really well. The contradiction there of like, oh, there's another Spider-Man, but the voice actor change is like perfect to go along with who that character was versus the original Spider-Man. I could go on, like, so many things about this movie were so cool. I absolutely adored it. So
nice. Jordan, you want to go next?
Si, senor. I watched some cool shit too, Dom. I started watching a television series called Hannibal, which I'm sure you've heard of. Holy fuck, dude. This series is wild. For those that don't know, it's about the character Hannibal Lecter, who is a cannibal serial killer, but is also like a genius psychologist, and is actually in a lot of the stories helping the FBI find serial killers, whether they know that he is a serial killer and they have him incarcerated, or like in the series Hannibal, where they just know him to be a genius psychologist. So this stars Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal and Hugh Dancy as the detective, special investigator kind of thing, / teacher, professor at the FBI that is investigating a lot of these serial killers. And then Lawrence Fishburne is kind of the head of their department, whatever it may be, in charge of them. So all three are doing an incredible job with the acting. It's an extremely intense show. If I didn't know and you had me watch the whole series and then you told me afterwards, or maybe had me guess what network it aired on, I would not guess NBC in a million years, because it is like HBO level of violence and gore that you're seeing on screen. So it's pretty wild, and for the most part it is like a damn near flawless show. I think maybe where the NBC part comes in is more the kind of almost procedural aspects of the other characters, the surrounding characters that are part of this FBI team and that are working forensics, and they're the coroners that are looking at these bodies. That feels like a lot more of a stale kind of cliche crime drama. So that's probably my least favorite part of the show. I really enjoy when Hannibal's interacting with characters, or when they're at a crime scene, something like that, when they're kind of going into these different serial killers, because they're not just like searching for one, they're going through almost one per episode, basically. So they have these new guys come into the show that are really quite interesting, and it's crazy that they're creative enough to continually do that. So I'm really enjoying Hannibal, and I'm sure I'll continue watching it. It's only 3 seasons that unfortunately got canceled early, and there's been talks of it coming back possibly online somewhere, but nothing has solidified as of now in mid-2019. So really good though, really enjoying that show. And then I also want to give a huge shout out to the Walking Dead comic, which actually just abruptly ended this past week. It was issue 193, and I mentioned it to you guys in our chat that they had actually not told a single soul about this, essentially, to the point where they actually solicited 3 fake issues 194 through 196, that they had fake covers made for, and they even made up a fake plot line about one of the characters that it was going to be involving, but it never came to fruition because the plan the whole time was to end it with 193. So it was a really cool thing that they did. When I cracked into the comic and realized that it's 80 pages long, I'm like, why is issue 193 80 pages long? Like, wouldn't that be 200? You know, you think you're like just a few issues away from 200. Like, what the hell's going on? And then obviously I won't talk about any of the plot details, but you can tell that there's a difference in the story, and so you're wondering if, like, am I reading the I wasn't necessarily thinking I was reading the finale, but I thought that I was reading something that I almost felt like I was reading an issue that, you know, at the end, like, somebody was going to wake up from and be like, oh, that was just a dream, because it was so fucking wild, right? And so then when you get to the end, and it literally says the end, and then has these like 6 pages of Kirkman writing out you know, the whole story of how it went down. It was just fantastic, man. It was such a great ride, and the whole comic series has been so much better than the show. And unfortunately, I had to just stop watching the show after a while, because no matter the fact that I've been with it 9 seasons, it's just not worth it, and is never going to be worth it for me. So I had to give up on that. But the comic, no matter how long it's been going on, has always been very strong, and for it to end in this really special and cool way was just so fantastic. So shout out to that, man. Shout out to Robert Kirkman for the way that he's ended these 2 giant comic book series, both Invincible and Walking Dead. Invincible was planned ahead of time, but was handled very well, and was very I guess you could say succinct in the way that they went out with that book. So really cool stuff there. But yeah, those are the big shout outs I wanted to give. And then I guess as far as stuff I've been playing real quick, I played some. So here's what I did. I went back because, as you know, Need for Speed Payback in 2017 was a big disappointment for me. It was basically built around the structure of microtransactions, and it was just not a good game, not a good Need for Speed game. And so I stopped playing it. So I've played a bunch of Need for Speed Rivals, which is the original Need for Speed game this generation. And so this time what I did was I went back to Need for Speed 2015, the kind of soft reboot. It's really kind of a reimagining of the Need for Speed Underground sub-series. And so it takes place all at night, and you know, you got a big open world city that you're driving through. And I just started that game over, and have been playing through it, and have played probably 30 plus hours at this point back into it, which I'd played, probably more than 40 or 50 hours the first time. So really great game. Now, I don't know if you guys will remember, but this is the game where they had the live action cutscenes. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
And yes, boys, they are just as awful as you imagined. I mean, like, sad that you're watching, even though these actors got paid, you're just like, the fact that you had to, like, do this shit on camera, this dumb shit, like, just being these fucking goofy ass motherfuckers that are, like, acting all broy with this guy that's clearly got a fucking GoPro on top of his head, and they're, like, interacting with him. It's just so fucking bad. And for whatever reason, the first time around, I actually, like, watched the cutscenes to, like, give it a chance, just so I could say that it was awful without being an asshole who hadn't even given it a try. But this time, I am skipping every single one that I possibly can, and certainly not paying attention to the one that I can't. So it's comically bad, but it's still not worth watching. And so that part is really shitty. But the gameplay itself is really solid. There's complaints that I could get into, but I mean, it's a 4-year-old game at this point, and we're looking at a new Need for Speed later this year. I'm hoping that this is actually going to be a solid Need for Speed, solid arcade racer, as opposed to the bullshit that we get with Payback. But I'm not getting my hopes too high, especially since we didn't even see it at E3 this year, which is pretty fucking whack. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm very cautious about Need for Speed 2019 at this point. So I might just be playing Rivals in 2015 for the rest of my fucking life, I guess.
Well, and it's the 25th anniversary,
Remastered.
Or is it the 20th?
Oh, is it this year?
Yeah, it's this year, because that's the whole point of when we reported on it, is that the developers wanted to skip E3 to make sure the game is as intended at launch, and they didn't have to take time away from the game making a vertical slice for E3, especially since there wasn't even a traditional press conference, because they said they wanted to celebrate. Sure. I don't remember if it was the 20th or the 25th. I'm not a super Need for Speed guy, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was one of the two. It's a pretty important anniversary for that franchise, so hopefully they nail it.
Yeah.
Is it everything, Jordan?
I also hopped back into the Breath of the Wild because, of course, we have the sequel announced now, and I played a bunch of that game but didn't finish it because I got too sidetracked in the whole getting caught up in the world thing. So, hopped back in. I've played quite a bit. I haven't necessarily progressed very far in the story, but I've been playing a decent amount, and definitely enjoying it more this time because I know what to expect. Now, that doesn't necessarily change how much I can't stand the fucking weapon degradation, because this shit breaks every 10 fucking seconds, and it's so goddamn obnoxious. But I've been down that road on this show before, so I won't labor that point too much. But yeah, it's a lovely game in a lot of ways, and I think overrated. I don't think that it is quite the masterpiece that people make it out to be, but I am certainly appreciative of the massive amount of awesome stuff in the game. So yeah,
awesome. I have a laundry list, so I'm not going to spend too much time on the non-gaming stuff. I'll just go through it quickly. So I'm 3 episodes through Titans, Jordan. Quick review.
What? Be still, my beating heart. You decided to watch Titans.
Because the guys I like to watch that react to shows started it, so I was like, whatever, I'll do it.
Who's that?
The Blind Wave guys. I've talked about them before. Because they're the reason I'm watching Breaking Bad again. Which I recently finished season 4 Breaking Bad, or season 3.
Oh my goodness!
The last episode I saw was Box Cutter, I think it's called, which I think you guys know which episode that is.
I don't. It's been so long.
Box Cutter is the episode with Gus.
Mm-hmm. I know which one that is.
Yeah, okay. Enjoying that. obviously when I finished it, I have some opinions on Breaking Bad. It's a great show. Titans episode 1 was okay. We talked about it a long time ago, Jordan, how it's like it's okay. I'm not really gonna want to dive in. Loved episode 2. Episode 3, in my opinion, is like one of the worst episodes of television I've watched. I thought the dialogue was horrible.
Jesus.
But episode 2 was like great. Like I really loved episode 2 of Titans, which is Hawk and Dove. And then episode 3 is
Hawk and Dove in that show are awesome.
And then episode 3 is Origins, which the parts where it's Dick Grayson with Bruce Wayne, right, getting into the manor, are really good. Literally everything else in that episode, like the Starfire's dialogue is terrible. I'm still going to continue watching it, but yeah, I'm 3 episodes in, and I was meh on 1, loved episode 2, really disliked episode 3. So I'm interested to see where it goes from there.
It does get better from there, and I will say it is, it's not the best show in the world. It can be hit or miss. But I think you'll enjoy it if you stick it out. I think it's worth watching the whole season.
Hawk is played Dom by. Did you ever watch Blue Mountain State?
Yeah.
Dad, it's the same
Yeah.
guy. He plays Hawk in Titans.
Did you ever watch Friday Night Lights, Dom?
That's actually a big gap and one thing I've wanted to go
Oh.
watch. But yeah.
I love the
it's
movie. Never seen the show.
So, okay, you guys know I'm not a big into sports, and I'm definitely not, like, big into, like, soap opera-y type dramas or, like, teen dramas or bullshit like that, right? So, it wouldn't normally be up my alley, but goddamn is Friday Night Lights incredible. I
Yeah,
love
that's
that
on my
show.
list because it
Same.
is up
Lila
there.
Garrity. She plays Dove.
She's the girl who plays Dove. Yeah. On episode 3 of Young Justice, I'm liking it. I'm not like super in love with it. It hasn't hit
Young
the
Justice
strides
season
that-
3?
Yeah.
Jared, you're making me real happy with these reports.
Yeah, I'm not like disappointed by it, or I'm not super excited. It hasn't hit the stride that like the other first 2 seasons did yet. You know what I mean? I know how Young Justice works. Like, it's a lot of like getting you situated with the time jump, letting you know what exactly is going down, and then midway through the season is when there's a big thing that happens. So I'm still enjoying it, still liking the show, but it's not like anything crazy. And the third thing I began watching, I'm 3 episodes into, which may eventually end up being my favorite anime of all time, along with all those other millions of goddamn weeaboos. Cowboy Bebop. I've never seen it.
There you go.
It is so good. Like,
oh yeah, it is.
It's like sci-fi. It's like stylized sci-fi. The jazz in it is so good. The fight scenes are so good. The soundtrack is so good. It is.
It's a masterpiece.
It is so good.
Like, what, Dom, you remember what you were saying about Spider-Verse, where you're like, all these different pieces come together and they make this incredible, it's like a meal, right? Like, you can have a great burger, you can have great French fries, but when you have, like, everything that comes together and makes this beautiful meal, this beautiful masterpiece, that's what happens, I think, in both Spider-Verse and Bebop.
And we know you're not a huge, like, you're not as much of an anime guy as, like, we are, Dom. But 3 episodes in, dude, I would suggest this to anybody.
Bebop, everybody's got to watch Bebop.
What is it about, though? I mean, the name tells you literally nothing.
So Cowboy Bebop, Bebop's the name of the ship, right, that they're on. He's, I'm only 3 episodes in, so I'll give you, like, the non-spoiler, because I haven't really seen that much, right? He's a bounty hunter in space, and his sidekick is an ex-military bounty hunter as well. And each episode is, they're chasing after a certain criminal. I'm assuming there's going to be an overarching problem or antagonist that they run into. It hasn't yet happened. But the first 3 episodes are handling them chasing down specific criminals, and they're in that loop of they need money to repair their ship, but every time they solve something, they end up having to pay extra costs for, like, Jet or Spike Spiegel's the main character, breaking something accidentally. It's sci-fi, so it's set in space in the far-flung future, has a very like jazzy vibe to it with the soundtrack and just the overall like animation of the characters. It's like Vice City meets like Mass Effect meets. It's this weird amalgamation of all of these different things. It's incredible. The first episode will hook you undoubtedly because it follows. Sorry.
Where do I find it?
Funimation is where I watch it. I'm pretty sure you can get a month free. It's one of those sites. It's one of like the top
And it's
anime
only like
sites.
26 episodes.
Yeah, it's short. There's a tie-in movie that happens between, I think, like episode 21 and 22, but it's only one season of a show. It only ever ran 26 episodes, and it's regarded as like one of the best anime. That's why I was super interested to watch it, because it's not like prolonged seasons. Like, I love Dragon Ball, Dom, but it's like there's a lot of filler. There's so many episodes, right? This is only 26 episodes.
The thing to note about anime movies is they rarely
Canonically
matter
tie
for
in. Yeah.
Canonically tie in, and it's pretty much the same here, but great movie, definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
And I think, this probably is the greatest anime series of all time. There's a reason why people talk about it the way that they do. There's a reason that it's affected you in such a way in such a short span of episodes, Jerrad, I think. It really is a masterpiece. So, also...
It's 20 plus years old, and the animation is some of the best I've ever seen. It holds up. It's incredible.
Yeah. Dude, 90s anime, when they were still hand drawing it, is probably the best there will ever be. I will say, Jerrad, the creator of the series, his next series after that is called Samurai Champloo, and it is every bit as good. So, you know how this is like a space western?
Yeah.
That's like samurai hip hop.
Ooh, cool. It's on my anime to watch list, Samurai Champloo. So I'll make sure, now that I know it's made also by him, I'll move it up the list.
Dude, it's people don't talk about it in the same way as Bebop, but I think it's right up there with it.
And yeah, Dom, I highly suggest giving it a chance, man. I don't normally recommend anime to you because I know you're not a huge anime guy, but it's really dope. Also, Spike, the main character, his animation fight style is very much Bruce Lee. It's really cool.
I don't have anything. I'm not like, put off by anime. Just
no, that was
anime, right? But,
that was just an additional thing, like more icing on the cake of getting you to watch it. Because like I'm 3 episodes in, and I was like, oh yeah, it's over. Like in my opinion, I was like, oh, this is overhyped. It's probably going to be a good anime, but how people tend to overhype things, yada yada yada. Sat down, started watching it, and I was like, whoa, like.
Yeah, it's one of those few things, man. It's one of those very few things that you hear about it forever, and you're like, oh yeah, I bet that's cool, but is The Godfather Part 1 really that fucking great, guys? And then you watch it, and you're like, holy fucking shit. You guys were right.
So I have quite a bit of games to get to, and we're on a tight timeline today, so I'm going to get to those really quick. First off, They Are Billions. Have you guys heard of this game?
No.
So They Are Billions was a PC game that recently got ported to console. It was a big hit in 2018. It's a city building RTS, but it has an emphasis on like tower defense and survival. So it's based in like a steampunk zombie apocalypse, and you're basically building up a city from scratch, and you're trying to build the city up and build a sustainable economy of people gathering wood and resources and all of that stuff, right? While at the same time building defenses in a zombie apocalypse. And every X amount of turns, you'll get notification that a zombie horde is incoming, and that's basically like the wave. But even between waves, you have random amounts of zombies coming towards your base and trying to take down your walls and stuff. It is really difficult. I'm playing on like the normal mode, and I have yet to make it past 15 turns. Also, I'm not very good with RTS games to begin with, so it's like not only am I doing this game that has a steep learning curve, I'm also not super familiar with the genre in general. It's just not my go-to that often. There's a pause-unpause mechanics where you can like pause and do a bunch of actions and unpause and see them play out. So there is a good balance there, because when the zombie hordes come in, they can be really fast or really slow. That's like one of my hang-ups with the game, is that sometimes the zombie hordes feel cheap, because you spend 20 minutes doing all of this stuff, building up your camp, building these walls, setting up your army, thinking everything's going to be great, and then a single wave of zombies ends your game and you have to start a new campaign. So it kind of feels like I just spent all that time doing that for nothing. You know what I mean? So it can feel pretty unfulfilling in that way. I did like 3 or 4 campaigns total. Didn't make it past turn 15. and that's on normal. The thing too with this game is it has like 12 difficulties.
Jesus
like,
Christ!
Yeah, there's like baby mode, super baby mode, toddler mode, like yeah. Which is the other thing with when you're creating a campaign is there's customizable options in terms of the setting, right? I only have the base skin for the world. There's like a couple more that you probably unlock with playing.
Now, Jerrad, what do I love just as much as a dash button in video games? Extra options.
Extra options, yeah. I was going to say a double jump, and I was like, no, that's not it.
Double jumps are fine.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see. I wrote down notes so I wouldn't forget anything. It encourages multiple campaigns, but obviously I said that can also feel cheap and feels like you wasted your time. What I will say, too, is with RTSs, we often talk about, man, those are tough to port to consoles. This is one of the games that I guarantee you would probably be... The reason it blew up on PC is probably because that's where it plays best, right? It's not one of those RTSs that makes the jump to console and is necessarily also still great. With the controls, it does the thing where it's a cursor moving on screen and you have to select stuff, which is fine, but you have to fine-tune the mouse sensitivity, and you have to move the screen around to make sure you're covering everything, and with mouse and keyboard, you'd probably just have an easier time, you know what I mean? So... I would say it's like a swimming in sevens on console. I don't know if I'll get back to it. If this sounds interesting at all, I would suggest looking it up on PC because it'll probably play way better there, and that's probably why it blew up on PC. It just doesn't seem like it's a good experience on console, but it's not the best experience you can have with the game. Flying through some of these other ones, played some more Astroneer. Played some Civ 6. I got it on the Steam summer sale for like $15. Hopped into that. I've always been a huge Civ guy, and I've been waiting for Civ 6 to be on a good sale so I can pick it up. Played through with Teddy Roosevelt on my first playthrough. Had to go American on him.
Teddy!
Haven't finished my first campaign. I don't play the quick version. I play the middle tier. So on Civ, you have the elongated games, you have the quick games, and then you have the ones that are normal paced, based on turns. I'm playing the average game, so I haven't finished it yet. I play it here and there.
Speak softly and carry a big stick. Exactly.
Been playing some Moonlighter. If you follow Kind of Funny at all, you've heard Greg talk about this game. Probably the best gameplay loop I've played all year. You go out, you explore these dungeons, gather a bunch of items, come back. Then you have the store to manage where customers come in and they buy products, and you have to make sure to list them for the correct prices. But there's also a mechanic of thieves. So thieves will come in, steal your product, and if you don't catch them by the time they hit the door, they're gone with your stuff. If you catch them, you get your stuff back and you can resell it. There's a bunch of upgrades for the town as well as their own shop.
Do we have time for a quick story?
Go ahead. Quick story.
I will tell it quickly. I once worked in a GameStop. A man came in and started asking about a Nintendo 3DS. And he was speaking... I don't want to, profile this guy too much, but he's, very thuggish tones, I'll say. Very difficult to understand. And so as I'm, showing him the 3DS, he just takes it out of my hand and walks out the door.
Wow. Similar story. When I worked at Best Buy, there was this guy looking at this really nice Sony camera a little too closely. This was the day that I was going in for training, right? I hadn't even started working yet. I was going in to go do the training stuff in the back. Walking down with this guy who's going to be showing me the ropes. In a swift movement, this guy goes to yank the camera out of, because you guys have been to Best Buy, they attach him to the metal thing and then to the wire so people can't just jack him, right? Well, this guy was well, if I pull fast and hard enough, this will come detached and I'll be able to get off scot-free.
Whoa.
He goes and yanks the camera. The metal slices his hand from the middle of his forearm all the way up to his pinky. And he lets go of the camera and books it out of the store, spilling blood the entire way. Yeah.
Do you know if he was ever caught or anything?
No clue. No idea.
Wow. So were the police called?
Yeah, they called the police, but the whole time I was there, we never saw him again. So he was wow. I don't know if he didn't come back because he was going to get arrested or if he was just embarrassed from being so stupid. Probably one or the other. Back to Moonlighter. The only thing bad about Moonlighter, great gameplay loop, Really fun to play. Hop in, hop out. You can spend anywhere between 15 and an hour with it, depending on how much time you have. It commits the cardinal sin of Xbox video games. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
It's achievements.
That goddamn lighthouse button on the fucking controller, Jerrad.
It doesn't. Its achievements don't end in a 0 or a 5.
Ah.
So you'll get like a 12 achievement, a 12 gamer score achievement, a 12. They're all 12, which is even more frustrating. So you have to get 5 of them to get 60. So it evens out. So that's frustrating, especially for somebody as OCD as me with my gamer score. It doesn't look right if it's not ending in a 0 or a 5. Which I also played Civilization Revolution on Xbox 360 recently via backwards compatibility, and I forgot that one had the same issue. And then I recently played Overcooked on Xbox, and you know what Overcooked does? Just for starting the game, you get a 1-point gamer score achievement. I hated it. Yeah. So anyways, Moonlighter's really fun. Already talked about They Are Billions. We talked about Where Remains Edith Finch. Super Mario Maker 2, been playing a bunch of that. Really enjoying it. The creator tools are really good. I'll probably have some levels live in the next couple of weeks. I'm tinkering with them and figuring out what kind of mechanics I want to put in there. It's just a blast. It's great. I'll report on it more when I'm actually have like levels out in the wild and I start doing more of like the challenges and stuff. I'm pretty much just dabbling in the story mode and creating stuff, so not too much to report on there that I hadn't talked about before. Apex Legends started its new season. That's really fun. They had their new character come in, Watson, who's like one of the most adorable characters ever in like a hero shooter or a battle royale game. The map completely changed, so there's like giant dinosaurs that were off the island that are now stomping on the island. That completely changed a lot of the geography on the actual map, so that's pretty refreshing. The weakest gun in the game, the Mozambique, now has an attachment that makes it a stronger gun. It's obviously still not top tier, but it makes it viable. There's daily challenges and weekly challenges that incentivize you to play with different characters and try different guns, which I really enjoy. It's like get X amount, get 5 headshots with this character, get 2 downs with this character. So it's not even necessarily having to kill people. Get 4 headshots with this character. It's just wanting you to try different characters and not have to be the most skilled person. Downs don't take that much to do. It's the actual killing, like once they're down, finishing them off, that can get kind of sketchy. And the weekly challenges incentivize you to go to different areas of the map. So instead of having your set places, it's like do X amount of damage in this place. So it incentivizes you to try new areas and instead of avoiding confrontation, go towards it, right? So really enjoying that. Apex Legends. It doesn't have the player base that Fortnite does, but from what Vincent Pella said about them wanting to have a healthy development culture and them not doing the Fortnite model, I think this was a really good update. Which, interestingly enough, on a side note, Fortnite's numbers have been going down pretty quickly on Twitch, which is interesting. League of Legends was the most watched game last month for the first time in a while. It passed Fortnite, so that's really interesting to keep an eye on in the weeks ahead. And I also, speaking of Battle Royale, hop back into PUBG as well. It's still what it is. I prefer PUBG's gameplay over Fortnite. It's still the roughest of the 3 in terms of like actual quality of play, right? But I like that gameplay style, and I just like the comfortable nature of the hokiness of it to some extent, because it isn't super well designed. It's rough around the edges, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm thinking if there's anything else. My big thing was They Are Billions and Super Mario Maker, but not much to report there, and Civ 6, obviously.
I'm looking at Watson here. She's cute, but most adorable video game characters of all time.
No, I was saying one of the most adorable characters in a hero shooter or battle royale game.
Hero shooter or battle royale. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's up there with she doesn't beat Tracer or Mei from Overwatch. Don't get me wrong, but she's easily the most adorable character in Apex for sure. Her backstory is really cool. So her dad is the one who created the arena that you play Apex Legends in. So she grew up around it. And her special is she creates these electrified barriers that you can either keep an enemy away from you, like zoning, or you can trap an enemy in if you're quick enough. She's really cool. Even her character design has copper wire on her that she actually uses in the game with her animations. So her character model has the items that she actually uses, It's a really cool design.
She's definitely like a thirst trap type character. Like
she's an American.
All hero shooters have.
Yeah, she's an American like weeaboo character, right? Like
exactly.
We want you to come here for that. So that's pretty much it for what I've been playing. Before we head out and we just tell you what we're going to be playing next week, I had a quick, in honor of the 150th episode, quiz for Jordan and Dom about controlled interests. So I'm going to ask you back and forth. It's a mix of straight up questions that need answers and multiple choice. What I will do is if the person who's initially asked the question doesn't get it right, the other person has a chance to steal it, okay?
Oh, some theft going on.
Only 5 questions apiece, and we'll see how you guys do. We're starting off with Jordan, okay?
Oh.
Jordan, what are the 4 main colors of controlled interests?
Oh, boy. So you got...
You don't have to be super... Like, for instance, the main color of controlled interest doesn't include a first word that's not a color. I'm just looking for colors and then, like, shades of them. So, like, light, dark, bright. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So there's gray.
Okay.
There's, like, a lighter green and a darker green?
No, you're wrong.
Like, no?
No. So let's see if you can steal it.
There's definitely gray, light green.
So there's
I thought those were the colors.
So there's just one green. There's white. There's a gray, and then a darker gray.
Yes, I would have also accepted black.
See, okay, this is I knew all those things, but I'm thinking like, is white a color?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Like, and like, is light gray and dark gray a color?
You might say I took that 3DS right out of your hands, Jordan.
So
no, you definitely stole it, but I was.
Yeah, don't worry.
Because if we're getting technical about what colors are,
exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm not going to hold it against you. Don't worry. This isn't an SAT either. You're just, figuring out some cool questions to ask you guys. Don't worry about it.
Dom, if there's a train leaving San Francisco at 7:30 a.m.
Dom, your question. There's a bonus to this. You'll get an extra bonus point if you get the second part.
Bonus.
Which guest has made the most appearances? And for bonus points, how many appearances?
This is a good one. It's definitely Blessing.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You are correct.
And he has made...
Since we've done so many episodes, I'll give you it's less than 20. So that way Jordan knows that too if he wants to try and steal.
Oh, less than 12.
Well, I can't steal his bonus, right? He's already answered the question correctly.
Yeah, you can get a bonus. You can steal the bonus for sure.
He has made 4 appearances.
Wrong. Jordan, would you like your chances still?
He's made 8 appearances.
You got it. Exactly.
Really?
Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, he's been on 8 times. You have to remember that he's been on the regular podcast 4 times, but he's also been on
E3 specials.
E3 episode and like another special thing we did.
Damn.
Yeah, he's been on quite a bit. Next up, Jordan, your second question.
Okay.
This also has a bonus. Can you name
Light
the
gray,
month and
dark
year
gray.
we recorded episode 1, and the specific day is bonus?
Oof. I don't think I can pull the day out of thin air, but I think because The Division came out in March of 2015.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I can't. Is that your final answer?
So I'm gonna say.
And throw in a day just so we can see if you get the bonus or not.
16th of March 2015.
You got half of it right. So it did come out in March, but it was not in 2015. It was in 2016.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 2016.
Motherfucker.
Because I can't give you like half points, so I didn't let you steal that, Dom.
No.
But Dom, you can get the bonus point, which is the day. He didn't get the day. Do you want to guess a day? You have a 1 in 31 chance. Well, 30 because you guessed the day.
25th.
Wrong. The 10th. March 10th, 2016 is the day we recorded episode 1. Who's
Damn.
evens? Dom, your second question. You're winning 2-1. Points don't matter. This is whose line is it anyway?
You're winning, but points don't matter.
So this is your
50 to
first. This is the first of the
1,050.
multiple choice questions. What wasn't one of Jerrad's most anticipated games for 2018 mentioned during episode 83? I'm going to give you the options and you choose one. Remember, most anticipated games for 2018. Ori and the Will of the
What
Wisps.
was not?
Which one was not? Ori and the Will of the Wisps, The Messenger, Metro Exodus, Trials Rising.
The Messenger.
Wrong. Jordan,
Really?
you want to try and steal?
Ooh. Yeah, repeat the answers.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Messenger, Metro Exodus, Trials Rising.
Trials has got to be in there.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
So it's between Metro and Ori. I'm going to say Ori.
Correct. We have a tie game.
Boom.
Uh,
All tied up on the board.
Jordan's question. Favorite question. Jordan's first multiple choice question. What's my favorite game of all time? Before I give you the choices, because this isn't as specific as the previous question, you can get 2 points instead of 1 if you want to try to guess it off the top. Or not,
gimme.
I can give you the multiple choice,
Hold up.
and you
Hold
can
up.
get 1 point for that.
There's a fastball down the middle.
I'm going to say Mass Effect 2.
2 points. Ding, ding, ding.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Dom, your question. This one is pretty granular, so I can't give you the 2 point thing. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's likely not possible without multiple choice.
Dude, this game is fucking intense right now.
Dom, in episode 100, what reason did Jordan give for staying committed to the podcast?
Whoa.
Okay, I remember the conversation.
You want multiple choice? Like I said, it's very granular, so I don't think you'd know it off the top of your head.
What
Yeah.
in the world?
Okay, so A, he loves talking about games. B, the podcast is blackmail for a previous life of crime and sin. C, it's a great weekly stress reliever for him. D, he has an alien overlord slightly off screen that demands he be present every week.
Whoa.
Well, I'm glad I chose
Lord
multiple choice just to
Xenu,
hear
close
those
by.
choices.
Standing close by.
Man, that is tough. Alien or
Gonna
I
need
guess
an answer.
yeah, we got to go with he loves talking about games.
Wrong. Jordan, would you like to try and steal?
Whoa. I guess so. This is getting meta as fuck over here. Was answer C the one that wasn't alien overlords or
C was stress
Sins of my
reliever. It's
past.
a weekly stress reliever for you.
so C? Okay.
Wrong. It was D. You said there was an alien overlord slightly off screen that demanded you be present.
See, you know, he could have brainwashed me several times since then and wiped my memory bank. Who knows what's happening?
So I
Right
went
on brand.
I re-listened to episode 100 like at double speed because I wanted to get some questions and answers right.
Very nice.
I was like,
So you heard me talk about this alien overlord like I'm a weird alien.
Yeah, exactly. It's really funny. Whose odds? That was Dom's question, right? Yeah,
That
so we're
was
on
Yeah.
Jordan.
me. Yeah, so
Jordan, during episode 50, Dom gushed
Uh-huh.
nonstop about the new video game release he got his hands on. What game was
Whoa.
it? A, I'm going to give you multiple choice because I assume you can't say it off the top of your head because it's pretty granular.
Can I get double points if I guess?
Yeah, you can guess.
But then do I not get to
Nope.
hear the other? Okay, let me hear the options then.
A, Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
B, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. C, Horizon Zero Dawn. D, Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus.
And this is episode 50.
Episode 50, yeah.
I was gonna
Which
say you
would've
can
been
do the
right.
math pretty and narrow
It
it
would
down.
have been spring 2017,
Mhm.
which means that Horizon and Breath of the Wild had both come out right around that time. I'm gonna say Dark Souls 3 2016. Just checking all my bases here. I'm gonna say Breath of the Wild.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Because Dom didn't know the beauty he held when it came to Horizon Zero Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. Game of the year, 2017.
I set that
Spoiler
question
alert.
up in a way. I set that question up in a way so that way you knowing the math of it would help you out, but not entirely, because you still would have to choose between the two.
So that's a great question, and that's a bit of a trick question because Horizon was absolutely my game of the year that year over Breath of the Wild, and I remember that. It sticks out in my head because most people reverse.
But at the time as episode 50,
exactly.
You were all over Breath of the Wild.
So the question was very specific to that episode because it could have been the next week potentially that the answer would have been different. Right?
Yeah, I guess we probably would have played Horizon first then, because it came out just a few days prior.
So you have a softball here that can help you catch up, Dom. Once again, you can answer it off the top and get 2 points.
The Puzzle Master, Jerrad.
Yeah.
Dom, what game was featured as the topic of episode 1?
Oh, shit.
You guys literally mentioned it like 10 minutes ago.
The Division.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we have a score
That
of
is a
4 to
softball.
5. Jordan's up. Last 2 questions here.
There could have been multiple answers to that, right? He could have
Yes.
just said any game that we talked about.
The topic, because remember we used to have a specific topic at the end, and our topic was Division. I had multiple choice options too, but he got it off the dome.
Nice.
Your last question, Jordan, to build a lead. If you get this without multiple choice, there's no way Dom can catch up. If you get it with multiple choice, he can still catch up. Which franchise has been featured the most in thumbnails in the last year? See, this is interesting because this is something
thumbnails
I
in the
would know.
last year.
For the most part, anyways. You might look at the thumbnails. So,
Jared, did you fucking count those?
Yeah, it's pretty. The last year we upload a
That's not
podcast
that
a week,
many.
and I just look at the picture.
That's 30 seconds.
Yeah. I was gonna do
Cyberpunk
every
2077.
episode, Dom, and then I was like, no, too much counting.
Cyberpunk 2077.
No, incorrect.
Damn.
Dom, you can steal, but you can't get
Dom
multiple
can
choice.
steal.
You can't get multiple choice, so Dom.
So in the past year's time, or this year, 2019?
The last 12 months.
Okay. Not Cyberpunk. What the hell else has been going on lately?
I feel like I know what it is, maybe.
Here's the thing. I will tell you this, Jordan, because this doesn't give it away for Dom. Cyberpunk was tied for second with 3 thumbnails.
God damn it!
Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Cyberpunk. Man, what do we talk about a fucking lot out here?
I'm going to give you 5 seconds.
Anthem.
5. Wrong.
Anthem.
So
Wow.
tied in second was Halo and Cyberpunk with 3 apiece. And tied in first place...
Can I guess?
You won't get points, but sure.
Spider-Man PS4.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. Call of Duty with 4, because remember all the issues
What?
with their studios and everything.
Okay.
And Mario with 4, because of the Nintendo Direct.
Just
Remember
Mario in
E3
general?
and all that stuff. So Call of Duty and Mario
Gotcha.
were tied with first. Dom, you can get this question with multiple choice and tie Jordan. Okay, you don't have to answer it off the top.
Okay.
How many episodes of the podcast have been shorter than 1 hour?
Damn.
I mean,
this is such a hard question.
Yeah. And I could win though off the top of my head though, right?
Yeah, but you can tie with the multiple choice.
Oh, damn. This is like going for 2 on a touchdown.
This is perfect. I didn't expect the game to go this way, but this is awesome. This is ultimate.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking edge of my seat over
Do
here.
you have a tiebreaker prepared?
No, because it's not about the
damn.
points. So if you guys end in a tie, we're all happy. I win.
No, that's
I
not
don't
happening.
know about that, Puzzle
I'm not
Master.
kissing my sister today, fellas.
Jesus
Because
Christ.
there have been exactly 3 episodes shorter than 1 hour. Count it.
I'll let you try and steal, Jordan. You're wrong, Dom.
Damn it.
You lose! I'm going to say just a general 45.
Way too high. So the multiple choice options,
Way
I won't
too
give you the
high.
correct answer. You both can get one more guess just for fun, and then we'll be real quick.
7.
How many episodes? A 17,
Oh, yeah.
B 15, C 26, D 8.
8.
26.
17.
Damn.
That many.
It was 16, but then Jordan and I's podcast 2 weeks ago when you weren't here, Dom, was less than an hour, so bumped it up to 17. That's it. Jordan wins.
My friend.
I think there was a good mix of questions where I would only really know the answer because of like I do the thumbnails, I do all this stuff, but then I added personal questions for you guys of like stuff you've said or stuff you've done. So that was pretty fun. 150 episodes down.
We are the champions.
Well played, sir. Good game.
We're on a short timeline, so we're not going to spend too much time talking about what we're going to be playing. But for me, more Super Mario Maker 2. I want to try to get some of those levels up to the online service. And I'm either diving into Metro Exodus or Shadow of War because that recently came out on Game Pass.
Ooh.
Game Pass, baby.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. Obviously, all the TV and other stuff, but don't want to go on that whole diatribe. What about you guys?
Red Dead 2.
Awesome.
Noise.
Jordan?
Gentlemen, we are the champions at 150 episodes. If only I could escape this alien overlord who sits barely off screen. Hopefully he will allow me to watch more Hannibal this week. And, I think I might have played enough of Need for Speed. We'll see. It's a real loose deal here because, like I said, I've already played it a bunch and it's several years old at this point. But it's fun putting on some electronic music and driving around at night in that game. So we might hop back in there. Shit, is Ultimate Alliance out this week?
Doesn't it come out the week of the 20th? Because it comes out a couple of days before Fire Emblem, right?
Right, yeah. Fire Emblem's not this week, but...
I'll check while you're finishing up.
Try to decide if I'm getting both or either of those games. Maybe, I don't know.
19th.
Crash... So, not quite this week.
No.
Crash Team Racing is catching a vibe for me because I'm hearing some great things about how skill-based it is, which is probably my biggest problem with all the rubber banding in Mario. So, that might get some love from me. We'll see, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for continuing to listen for 150 episodes. Really great that we were able to do that quiz. I thought that was really fun. If you can, please follow us on iTunes, leave a review. It definitely helps. We're on Google Play as well. On YouTube, you can subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know whenever we upload a new video. Trying to get the podcast on Spotify because it's like the easiest place to listen to stuff. Also, I know neither of you really play games on your PC, but the new Xbox game bar is actually pretty cool. Like the options you have to customize your play space while you're playing on your PC. You can like even overlay Skype, which is really dope when you're just trying to listen to some music and play. So with like all Final Fantasy soundtracks were recently put on Spotify, which I've never really played any of those games, but their soundtracks are really good.
Since you mentioned it, Jerrad, I saw, they did their E3 conference and they had this like commercial where the girl's like picking all these different songs on a streaming service, right, in the restaurant or whatever. Why is it only Final Fantasy? Why isn't it all Square Enix? Because I still can't get my fucking Kingdom Hearts shit going, dude. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, man. It's Square Enix. There's so many questions about them. That's one of the many questions.
Bullshit.
Catch us next week for episode 151. We're going to return to our normal format of talking about what we've played. Then we're going to talk about the news. There's some stuff we're going to be talking about that won't be brand new. I want to talk to you guys about the Nintendo Switch Lite and a couple of other things that I kind of held for our return to form next week. See you guys then. Bye.